This is Let's Talk Football here on the sportshacks.com, and today we have a very special World Cup, a post-mortem, if you like, for England following their defeat after 9 minutes of added time to Argentina in the semi-final on Wednesday night. Joining us, a disconsolate, a disappointed, at times dismayed Rob Shepherd from the United Kingdom. And Rob, when you saw Tuchel's selection, when you saw his substitutions, was this the result you probably expected?
I didn't like the team selection at the start. Substitutions were obviously a disaster. But let's just go back to what Thomas Tuchel said just before taking over as England manager. We only go back to early 2025. So 6 months after Gareth Southgate's team had lost the Euro final to Spain 2-1. And Southgate got a lot of criticism because he didn't go for the jugular. Tuchel said, and I shall quote, "They were more afraid to drop out of the tournament than having the excitement and hunger to win it." Well, I tell you what, talk about being hoisted by your own petard. You know, that's exactly what England did against Argentina and worse. A friend of mine rang me this morning and said simply, Kaiser Southgate.
It struck me at the time of his appointment that one of the main reasons he got the job was because he could see it out. He could see England through a final. He could see them on to victory for the first time since 1966 in a major tournament. But when push came to shove, he pushed the bus back to the edge of the box and just left it there.
He fell apart. He lost the plot. I mean, you make the great point, great line. They parked the bus but gave Lionel Messi the keys. It was crazy. They were defending on the edge of their 18-yard box for 20, 25 minutes, allowing basically Argentina to play five-a-side football. Messi in particular, the greatest player that we've seen in our generation, and I would arguably say now, or not even arguably, definitely the best of all time. This victory surpasses Maradona. This was his win, not just for Argentina, but for Las Malvinas, or as we're called, the Falklands. And by the way, Tuchel was appointed with a specific task of winning this tournament for the very things you just said, to negotiate that final yard, get over the line. And when he got to the line, he crumbled and fell apart. And yet, just in the spring, the FA extended the contract. Well, I tell you what, they should send him on fishing leave out to the Falkland Islands for the next 6 months. Yeah,
it's quite incredible that the statistics, and they're quite damning, and I know statistics don't always tell a full story, but in this instance, they're fairly accurate, because England, after they scored, and Anthony Gordon, as I said to you earlier last week, he's been given terrible stick by the Spanish media because Barcelona have paid so much money for him. But he did score a very good goal, and again, he was the only white player they started with, which was very strange. But after that goal, England had 12% possession in a World Cup semi-final.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon started the tournament iffy, if you like, not great, but he's grown into the games. He's been playing really well, and he popped up to score his goal. He's got great pace. He offers questions. You pretty much, he takes him off less than 10 minutes after he scored an opening goal in a World Cup semi-final against Argentina. Crazy decision. The guy would have been flying, and he offered an outlet. England surrendered on that aspect. They just went on the back foot, and yet they started with a lopsided midfield. Rodgers came in rather than having Saka in the side, who should have come on at some point to stretch the game. I mean, if you're gonna take Gordon off, then replace like for like. But the worst substitution was 8 minutes to go, was bringing Rice off. England had rode their luck. Maybe they were going to scramble to the finishing line. Argentina had hit the post twice. Your friend Pickford had risen to the occasion.
Really good saves. Really good saves, to be fair to him.
He did, but it was attack v defence. I think the possession, I'm with you, they often don't tell you the picture, but for the last 10 minutes, England had 8% of the ball. Yeah, they were inviting Argentina onto them. And as I say, Messi ended up playing five-a-side football against England, and there's only going to be one winner there, and he did really what he surpassed Maradona in the sense of in '86, Maradona scored the 2 great goals, as we know. Messi didn't score, but he laid both goals on. He lined the equaliser up for Fernandez. Now, there is a case in point. Rice should have been still on the pitch. He would have closed him down. He was in tune with the game. Bellingham got there too late. By the way, you've got to say they targeted Anderton and Bellingham in the first half. And as great as Bellingham's done, I'm sorry, he melted a little bit. Yes, to be fair, he didn't allow the red mist to descend, but he wasn't a dominant factor.
But Rob, he should be used to that every week in, week out. Like, I don't buy into this thing because it's the World Cup semi-final. All the leopards change their spots. They don't. It's a game of football.
Well, he had an opportunity to grasp the nettle after half time. I mean, the first 10, 15 minutes, it was like watching football back in the 80s. I mean, I didn't think you could get away with stuff like that anymore with all the cameras everywhere. But Argentina pulled out all their tricks. And all right, England, turned the other cheek to a degree and played out a slugging match. So you get to half time. It opened up a little bit and England took advantage because Argentina were afraid of England's pace on the break. And England had the armoury on the bench once they were a goal up.
And this begs another question for you. I mean, first of all, and no disrespect to the bloke because he's a big fella, I wouldn't like to fall out with him. Did anyone expect Dan Burn to get you to the World Cup final? That's my first question. And the second one is, why leave it so late to bring on Rashford and Tony? I mean, you said, they attacked at pace on the break. He gave up the break. He gave up the break.
He brought those two on once they were 2-1 down. So
it was over.
To take it. Well, it pretty much was. I mean, but I guess in his mind, when it was 1-1, he would have, in extra time, he would have brought them on. But they didn't have a say. I mean, it was faintly ridiculous that we end up seeing England's last gasp hope was Dan Burn, the hairy-ass centre-half, going up front. And it's it long. So all this Vorsprung durch technique of Tuchel, all this clever tactical stuff, we might as well have had Sam Allardyce and the last throw of the dice. And, it's so annoying that, to re-quote Yogi Berra, deja vu, all over again.
And you paid this guy for the next 4 years to stop this happening.
Well, as I say, you should stick him on fishing leave. Not gardening leave, fishing leave. Go over to the Falklands. Do some whaling for us. Maybe if there's oil there. I mean, that's another thing as well. Of course, that would be an issue.
Would you trust him to find it?
He might find it, but I don't know. I don't think he'd know how to sell it or market it
or refine it. Refine it, because he has not refined. He has not refined the Gareth Southgate England.
As you know, I've got a great command of German, and probably Gareth Southgate's not feeling too much Schadenfreude. But the Germans, they've got a word for taxi. It's called das Taxi. But there's a cheaper one. I think these days people use Uber. Good German word. Uber for Tuchel. I want to see him gone by tomorrow. In fact, this evening.
So
Ausgehen, Tuchel. Ausgehen.
There is a third place playoff in Miami on Saturday evening. Why is anybody's guess? But I remember Scolari, Big Phil, when he was manager of Portugal, ahead of the Euros that were hosted in Portugal, and he said he was asked about winning either that or when he was at Brazil, he was asked always about winning or finishing second. And he said second is the first of the last places, which makes third the second of the last places.
Yeah.
Is anybody going to be bothered for this now?
No, not in England. I'm not going to watch it. I have to say, in Italia '90, England played Italy in the third place playoff in Bari, and I didn't go to that. It is meaningless. It's pointless. It's a made-for-TV game, though. You see other countries around the world, they will watch it because it's England-France. And there's a lot of ads and sponsors. So we know what that's all about. but I don't suppose the players will fancy it. One thing we also might have to question was Tuchel's response and strange reaction, which we dissected the other day after the Norway game. Did he lose a little bit of the players, their belief in him or whatever? Because when Rice came on, and if you're going to take Rice, I mean, if Rice had one leg amputated, and one arm amputated with 8 minutes to go, you'd still keep him on the pitch because he's the player that got Arsenal over the line to win the title. He's England's warrior in midfield. I don't care if he was, if his tank was low, he would have still taken England over. If you took him off, then Mainu, who's basically, he's just been there for the hydration breaks, he's been a water carrier. You would have put him on. But O'Reilly comes on. Oh, really? O'Reilly. He comes on. The commentator's gone, he sometimes plays in midfield. Oh, sometimes, really. This is a World Cup semi-final with 8 minutes to go. O'Reilly comes on.
Would anybody have taken Terry Butcher off on that famous game?
Never. Well, yeah, I mean, you don't take your Warriors off the pitch because your Warriors off the pitch, as I say, it reminds me of the last one of the scenes in the Monty Python's Life of Brian, where you've got the knight with not so shining armor that has two arms cut off, and he still wants to have a go, and then he has his legs cut off, and he still wants to have a go, and he looks up and he says, "Take my head off," and they take his head off, and he still wants to go. That's the kind of player Declan Rice is. That's the kind of player a Terry Butcher was, and it was ridiculous, that decision. And when O'Reilly came on, all the other players are looking at him, and he's gone 5-4-1. It was almost like that TV program with Dusty Bin years ago, darts program, whatever it was. It's like, which was 3-2-1, I think. Anyway, and the players are looking, and he's not long had a hydration break. So all this clever preparation and all that, a guy runs on and sort of does hand signals, and the players, they didn't adjust. It was Bellingham that didn't close down Fernandes. And of course, you've got to say, a player that I've been sceptical of is Spence as a defender. I thought he had a great game. He made a tackle in the match when he tracked back as Argentina started to pile on the pressure that was possibly better than Bobby Moore's tackle on Jairzinho in 1970, which is regarded as the greatest tackle of all time. Well, I've got to give it to Spence. But once he had to play as a proper left back, Messi tore that space apart. And what Argentina did was they overloaded the right-hand side. And you have to give Lionel Scaloni credit for his substitutions. He made the right calls. Tuchel made the wrong calls. Simple as. I'm going to say it again. Uber for Tuchel. Send him on fishing leave.
England ended up, Rob, playing Cluedo without the murder weapons, didn't they?
Yes, and Colonel wasn't mustard, was he? He wasn't mustard, and and we didn't have Miss Scarlet with any lead piping either, did we, up front?
Scarlet face. These are two teams on Saturday, England and France, who have both had so many good moments at this World Cup, but ultimately they have both failed miserably.
Yeah, well, a lot of people will take about, we got to the semi-finals. Again, let's repeat what was on the contract. What was the manifesto? Thomas Tuchel would take England over the line. Okay, this is the man. This is the only reason we've appointed him. The only reason we're not going to stay with Gareth Southgate, who in many respects had earned the right to go to another World Cup. Yeah, he'd earned that right, in my opinion. He might have learnt from his mistakes. He might have shaken up his coaching staff, just got a little bit, freshened certain things up. I mean, as I was saying, when Tuchel berated the team, and then apparently ahead of the Argentina game, they had to have a clear-the-head meeting. So when O'Reilly comes on, he's making these last-ditch instructions as Rice comes off, he didn't really shake his head, but I can imagine what he was thinking. Why am I going off? And you've got Ollie Watkins there on the side. You know, Gordon comes off. Why don't I go on? You know, you bring Konsa on. You change the shape at the back with 8 minutes to go. For all the preparation, it looked like off-the-cuff stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, Tuchel has taken England backwards. And the feedback I'm getting from certain fans that I know that have been out there all tournament, they see this. The feeling they're having this morning is worse than 2018 World Cup disappointment in the semi-finals. It's worse than losing the Euro finals. It's worse than France in the quarterfinals of the last cup, beating England 2-1, largely because Harry Kane missed a penalty. England had victory in their hands and they threw it away, or the manager threw it away.
One word answer to the last question. Will Tuchel be England manager in September?
No. And the answer to the next question is, who should be? Eddie Howe for me.
Eddie Howe is the debate for another day. Rob Shepherd, as always, thank you for your honesty. And I'm sorry to say your angst this morning, but I think you're speaking from the heart.